Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next edition of our webinar series where we're going to discuss Goodleap loans. Goodleap's a partner we've been with for a long time for our TPO products, and we are excited to open up their loan product for our sales teams. So let's jump over to the agenda and take a look at what we're going to talk about today. So first things first, we're going to talk about Goodleap requirements and product offerings. Then we'll talk about Goodleap loan support and some of their AI features. We'll go through the process of designing and pricing a project in Aurora, running credit, and some project submission best practices. And like any webinar we do, we will hold a Q&A. We've got some stakeholders here from Freedom Forever that are going to answer your questions. So we do thank you for being here. About halfway through this presentation, you will see a Q&A option pop up. That's where you can start submitting your questions. We will do our best to get to all those questions, and we look forward to getting those questions answered. So first things first, let's talk about Goodleap loan requirements and product offerings. So what are some of the requirements for the Goodleap loan? So it has a minimum FICO score of 680. They offer loan amounts between $5,000 and $135,000. And the loan terms are between 10 and 20 years. Now, there was a 25-year option in the past, but that is being phased out. So the maximum years you'll have for this product is 20 years. Co-borrower is not required to be on title. Now, there are some DTI restrictions if the FICO score is below 700. It does check all of the credit bureaus, and it will take the highest score from those three bureaus. And we are excited to be able to offer Spanish contracts right out of the gate with the Goodleap loan. So what are some of the Goodleap loan options? Well, you'll be able to do solar-only loans, solar plus battery. Goodleap does offer a battery-only loan. That is a 10-year loan product. And then, like many other loan offerings, you can do solar with home upgrades, similar to things like roofing and main panel upgrades. So let's talk about some of the Goodleap property types that you can use this product on. You can use owner-occupied homes, single-family homes, multi-family, townhomes and condos as long as they own the roof and have approval, and manufactured properties as long as it is on a firm, provable foundation. And for structure types, they do allow ground mounts. Let's talk a little bit about some of the Goodleap loan product hard stops. For bankruptcies, you can have no Chapter 7 or 12 bankruptcy in the last 2 years, no Chapter 7 bankruptcy in the last year, and for Chapter 13, specific FICO score requirements apply. In terms of delinquencies, you cannot be 90 days or more past due on an installment loan on the credit report. This is an automatic hard stop even with a co-borrower. Now, the Goodleap loan product does have home value restrictions in terms of like the maximum loans you can receive. For home values less than $100,000, the max loan is $35,000. For $101,000 to $150,000, the max loan is $50,000. For homes between $151,000 and $200,000, the max loan is $75,000. And any home over $200,000, it is strictly based on credit. Now, one of the cool things that Goodleap does offer is an AI support tool called Didi that is very similar to what we currently have with Raya. So let's take a look at some of the features and best practices for using Didi. Okay, so let's talk for a few minutes about Didi, the AI assistant for Goodleap, which is named after Goodleap founder Hayes Bernard's mother, who was their facilities manager for years. So it's kind of a pretty cool tribute for this technology that it kind of aligns with what Goodleap was trying to do. So think of Didi very similar to Raya as your instant expert, something that is available 24/7. Didi can answer process-related questions, whether you're trying to clear some income verification or navigate it's like a tricky loan or procedure. Didi gives you accurate, immediate guidance. It has instant text-based support. It works across all platforms. This is going to cover both the loan and TPO process, and it's going to be a great time saver. So instead of waiting for an answer or sifting through like a long process guide, you can just text Didi and get the information you need right away, whether it's about clearing a specific case or understanding a step in the process. To use Didi, you will text 69548, and in seconds, you will have Didi responding to you and in real time. So this is going to speed up response times, boost accuracy, and make it simple to get critical information you need exactly when you need it. They created this to help partners like us work smarter, faster, and with more confidence. So this is a good example of how to leverage technology to make this process way easier for you in the future, and we're really excited to use it. So this is a great support tool that we hope that everyone can take advantage of by using DD. Now that we've gone over some of the loan requirements, the products available, and some of the hard stops in the DD Assistant, let's talk about designing and pricing this in Aurora. So let's jump over to Aurora and we'll get this done. Okay, so we've jumped over to Aurora and we have a project designed. A couple quick notes here while we are on the project design page in Aurora. At the time of this webinar, we are using the Q-Cell panels for Goodleap loans. Make sure you check the address sheet to see what is the current base model for your markets. But at the time of this webinar, we are using the Q-Cells. So I've designed my system, and I will choose Done. And on the financing screen, in order to access the Goodleap loan, we will choose the Goodleap option from the drop-down of selected financing. For selected financing, you will see a mixture of lease and PPA products within this submenu. So continue to scroll down and you'll see Goodleap Standard. That's where you'll see the different loans, the APRs, and the duration of those loans. Right now, I've chosen the 3.99 20-year. Remember, the maximum loan term right now for these Goodleap loans is 20 years. So I've chosen that option. And you'll see the breakdown here with the system size and the monthly payments 1 through 18 and the loan reamortizing at month 19. Now, one very important step when you're doing the Goodleap loans is that there is no manual project generation for these projects. So if you are using the Goodleap loan product, you must apply for the loan application here like normal. So you click apply now to open up the loan application. But in order to convert this project over to Lightspeed, you do have to use the exit to CRM button that is inside of our Aurora instance. So just to clarify, in order to convert this project over to Lightspeed, you must use the exit to CRM option. You cannot generate a Goodleap loan manually. So let's jump back over to the presentation and head over to our Q&A. All right, we have reached our Q&A session. So again, about halfway through the presentation, you should have seen a Q&A box appear where you can submit questions. So if you do have any questions related to the Goodleap loan product, add those to the Q&A and we'll get those questions answered now. All right, we are at our Q&A session. So if you have some questions regarding the Goodleap loan process, drop those in the Q&A. We'll bring those on screen and we've got some folks here that can answer those questions for you. So the first question we have in is on the dealer fees. If you do want to know the dealer fees and loan terms, you can search for those in Intercom. You can search in the Goodleap folder in the Sales Resource Center. That is located under the finance and payment options. Same thing with the system size. For the next question is, what was that number again for DD? The text number for DD, we'll get that sent out to you here, and let me just grab it for you. All right, so we do have our question about the 25-year loan. The 25-year loan was phased out as of August 1st. So the maximum Goodleap loan term is 20 years. And the rates are currently located inside of Aurora on the dropdown, also in Intercom and Sales Resource Center. These are live today. So those loans are available for everyone to use today. There is a zero dealer fee option, Eric, good question. And that is located again on the rate card. You will, on the drop down, again, there are certain states where there are APR caps, so you have to stay within those caps, like Texas and Illinois. But if you want to find the most up-to-date rate card, you can find that in our Sales Resource Center or by searching Intercom. All right, so we got some good questions here. So A lot of them are related to things that can be found on the finance products at a glance document. Things like, do they allow LLCs, corporations, or trusts? Can we do a 15-year loan? You can see all that on the finance and payment option sheet. So when we do the recap after this webinar wraps up today, we will include the new finance payments options at a glance document, a recap of the webinar as it went out today, and any other supporting documentation. So again, you can view these inside of the Lightspeed portal as well, and you'll be able to view past webinars. Brian, I'm going to shoot this one over to you. Do you recall what we have for the maximum loan amount?
Yes, I do have all that stuff, and like you said, Mark, the financing products at a glance sheet has been updated. You can locate that in the Sales Resource Center. It has answers to a lot of this stuff. Just to recap, like you said, I'll start just with minimum FICO again. Minimum FICO is 680 for Goodleap. The max loan amount is up to 135K, but that is depending on the credit score. As far as I see like a DTI question in there, it says, what are the DTI ratios for credit around a 680 credit score? So they didn't give us any specific DTI percentage that wasn't available, but they did say that anything over 700 does not have a DTI check. So it's only checked on borrowers with credit scores under a 700 FICO.
Okay, we do have a question from Johannes. Is there a prepayment penalty for the Goodleap loans?
No.
No current prepayment penalty. The maximum system size is also located on the finance.
So they actually don't have a maximum system size requirement. Okay. They just need to stay under the maximum loan amount. So as long as it's under 135K or whatever they are approved to, they should be good. There's no max system size requirement.
All right, so we are rifling through these. A lot of these are great questions. Thank you for these questions so far. Yes, we do have. All right, so let's get caught up here. So, Brian, Rob, there are a couple questions about swapping from previous loan partners. Do we want to talk about that briefly?
Yeah, we can talk about the swap guidance here. So the swap guidance for Goodleap loans should mirror the current swap policy that we have for NFIN loan. Okay, and so just to restate that, the only projects that are eligible to swap from Mosaic to Goodleap loan would be ones where Mosaic went through and did the proactive cancellation on their end. You'll be able to indicate that in Lightspeed. There's a little tag or a pill at the top of the project page there that'll say Mosaic to NFIN approved. If you see that tag on the project, that will also apply to a swap to Goodleap loan. So if it has that approved to swap, but anything else, anything that's post-install or anything where Mosaic had funded the BOL on the loan, none of those are going to be approved to swap from Mosaic to Goodleap loan.
Thanks, Brian. We do have a question about roofing. This is going to operate similar to other loan products that we have in our system. When you're in Aurora, you can build in roofing costs and notate that you need a re-roof and build those costs into the product as well, like you would with a credit human or an NFIN loan. So that process does not change with Goodleap. We do have a question about which markets this is available in. Brian, it's probably easier just to address which markets it's not available in, right?
Yeah, all markets except Puerto Rico.
Okay. Are we currently offering the battery-only option? And if not, do we have any anticipated timeline for when that will be active?
We do have access to the battery-only loan option, albeit the process is not great right now. So we are working on some software development items in the back end to smooth out the battery-only submission process. Right now, it's still going through the same process where you would create a project with one module on it, and then we will do a change order to remove the module. So it's like, I guess, the module with the battery, right? And then we'll do the change order to remove the module and have it just stay for the battery. And like you said during the presentation, 10-year max term on that.
Gotcha. Now we have a question about the 700 plus credit score. According to Goodleap and the information that we have on our finance payment products at a glance, the DTI is not checked for credit score 700 and above. So if it is below that, that's when they will consider DTI. That's a good question. Appreciate that. For co-borrowers, they do not need to be on title, but one person on the application does need to be on title.
And the great thing about Goodleap's co-borrower policy is they just take the highest FICO score from the two borrowers of all three bureaus. So they run all three and then just take the highest score amongst the two borrowers.
We have a question from Jenny. Are these loans amortized on day one, or do they still have the 18-month amortization?
Nice, Mark. You nailed that this time.
I finally said it correct. I hope Rob's here.
It is, so the Goodleap loan structure is similar to what you were used to with Mosaic, where it shows that 18-month intro fee, and then it reamortizes at month 18. So that is going to be the same for Goodleap. It is not like the Enfin Bright Energy loan where it just is amortization from day one, there's no 18-month ream. For Goodleap, it will follow the loan structure that a lot of reps are used to, where you have that intro payment, and then if the customer uses that 30% ITC towards the pay down of the loan, their payment will stay the same. If they pay down more, their payment will go down. If they pay down less than 30%, then their payment will go up.
So a couple questions about the credit check. The credit check is a soft pull to check credit that converts to a hard check at the second milestone. The maximum loan amount, this is a question from Ivan, the max loan for the Goodleap loan is $135K. Brian, is there a video welcome call, or how does their welcome call process work?
It's a great question. Their welcome call for the loan product will also go through Call Pilot. So same thing that you're used to for their TPO product.
Question from Jacob. What are the differences between this and, say, a credit human loan? Well, I can answer that. With a credit human loan, it's typically the one interest rate with a no dealer fee, and those loans have a 3 amortizations throughout the process. With Goodleap, this works more like the traditional loans of the past, where there is a reamortization at the 18th month, and there are different interest rates. So that's the biggest difference between the two. Correct, Eric. It is just one reamortization. All right, we got some good questions in here, but a lot of them are coming in as repeats. Mark, Brian, here's a good question for you.
A question about the people that are having issues getting them through.
Okay. Oh, I see that now. Loan. So this is from Reek. He's got a couple approvals today, but he's unable to send Freedom documents.
So
Brian, you want to take the one?
Yeah, so we've seen a couple of these come through where sales reps are getting the customer approved through, like they're doing the loan application through Aurora and having issues when trying to convert the project using the exit to CRM button, going from Aurora to Lightspeed. We've had a few of those reported. We are looking into it. I would say that if there's anyone on the call who's trying to do a Goodleap loan today and you're seeing that, please reach out to the pre-sale support team. They have a direct line to Dev, and we're aware of it. We're working on smoothing out some of those little kinks there. It is a new product, went live late yesterday, so there's a couple little tweaks that it seems like we need to make on the back end to get it working for all of the products, but we should have that sorted out here very soon. Rob, anything to add on that?
Nope, nothing to add. I suspect we'll have it turned on today. I think there's potentially just a flip we need to switch on the back end here that, for whatever reason, has not been switched. So it's on our radar. We're working on it. Apologies for the delay. We'll get that activated and working ASAP.
Thanks, Rob. Question from Scott as to when do loan payments start? So again, I'm pulling this information from our finance products at a glance, a document that everyone should download to their devices. It's an incredibly useful document that Brian himself updates very regularly. And this one came out on the 5th of this month. The first payment is due 3 months after the loan funding and install completed. So that's when payments would start for that project. Great question. And the next question we have is, are these loans transferable? Brian, you want to take that one?
Yes, loans should be transferable. You would do that through Goodleap. I'm also seeing a question that came in right now from someone that's saying they're looking at Goodleap Loan and they do not see it in Aurora. I would recommend refreshing your web browser, depending on the last time you were in there. If you already had the web browser pulled up, if you click refresh, it should update and you'll see it there. You'll find this in the financing tab in Aurora. So you'll click the financing screen. You'll click Goodleap, just like you've clicked it for their leases and PPAs. And then you will select the rate and term from the drop-down menu. It'll be in there with the other leases and PPA options. So it'll be one of the options that you'll select from the drop-down. Mark did show that during the presentation, so I'd recommend just going back and taking a look at that part of the presentation here.
Just a couple other troubleshooting tips there. You may need to click off Goodleap, like select a different financing option, and then go back to Goodleap. And if neither of those options work, what Brian said and what I just said, try duplicating the design and seeing if that works as well. Sometimes I think if it wasn't there when you originally created that design, sometimes it may not work. So just try all those 3 fixes and you should be good. And then update on the conversion to Lightspeed. I just got word that it was fixed. It's now working. I just ran a test and it's working for me. So for anybody who has tried and it blocked it, try it now. Should be working. Let us know in real time if you're able to, if it's not.
Okay. Rob, I'm going to throw this one at you. I'm not sure if you have the answer for this one, but how do we know how the change order process for Goodleap works? How long does it take for them to really get their documents?
Well, there's kind of 2 different questions there. I think one is how does Goodleap handle it, and then there's one which is like how does Freedom request it from Goodleap. I think the request process is going to be pretty similar. You guys can submit a change order in Lightspeed. I mean, you do have access to Origin yourself, so theoretically you can go in and send a change order yourself right in Goodleap, or you can just request it from Freedom's team via several different ways: live scope of work call, opening a ticket, denying a scope of work, and requesting a change. There's a bunch of ways to request a change order from us. There will be a point at which we need to confirm, obviously, that the contract amount and the loan amount match. So you got to make sure that before it moves forward, you have both the Freedom change order and the Goodleap loan adjustment or change order signed. I don't know, Brian, if you know any more details. I know, like with the Mosaic piece, once it got past a certain stage, we had to do a loan adjustment for a change order. I'm not super up to speed on those details. Do you know anything about that?
No, not with that level of specificity for this one.
Yeah. So as we learn the product more, there's more info to share on any nuances with change orders. We'll certainly roll out some additional training. But again, I think as you would have normally requested a change order from Freedom on a Mosaic job or any other loan job, there's not much different here with Goodleap.
All right, thanks, guys. So we have a request. Are we able to add the AVLs to the finance documents in a glance document? Or do we typically keep those separate inside of the folders in the Sales Resource Center, the approved vendor lists?
Yeah, I can try to get my hands on one of the AVLs, the AVL for the loan, and drop it in the Resource Center.
So this is an interesting question from Jayla. Because the loan is now a 20-year loan, do we know if it's just warranted for the 20 years or is it warranted for 25? Is it just the warranty for the life of the loan?
Nothing changes. The loan term doesn't impact the warranty terms. So we'll still have the production guarantee for 25 years. Any manufacturer warranties would be the same, whether that's 25 years or 10, 12, 15, whatever it is for the different components. So loan term does not impact warranties at all.
Okay. So here's a question we've got. Say a homeowner is denied an application. Will it tell them how?
Oh, Mark, we're losing you, or at least I am.
Yeah, you cut out for a minute there, Mark. Probably ask one of 2 things. Will it tell them what the approved amount was if they weren't approved for the full amount, or will it tell them the denial reasons? Yeah, so I mean, if you request, because again, to the question that we had earlier, what's the maximum loan amount? As Brian mentioned, it's not 135K across the board. It's not binary. You either get approved for 0 or you either get denied or approved for 135K. It will vary, similar to what we're used to with Mosaic. It will vary based on their FICO band. So different FICO bands will have lower approval amounts. So yes, what would happen is if you applied for yet a system that was built for whatever 100K, you got approved for 50K, you would obviously have to downsize your system or reduce your price to get under that maximum amount, or else ultimately, at some point, it may not be right there at time of sale, but at some point you're going to have an issue because you don't have the full funding amount financed or the full contract amount financed rather. So you got to make sure to keep an eye on that. It will say right in origin what the approval amount is. Customer will also get an email. Don't think the rep gets an email for that, but I could be wrong there. But you will be able to see it in origin or through the customer's email.
So a question about the battery only. And again, I know we haven't fielded a lot of these yet, but is battery only options for previous Freedom customers, or is it available for any solar project?
Yeah, we're going to have a lot more coming out on battery only soon. I'm inclined to just punt on a lot of those questions for now. We don't do a ton of that volume. The short answer to this question is battery only for right now are for only systems installed originally by Freedom. There was a question I saw in earlier of kind of what the rates and fees are. Brian, correct me if you know something I don't hear, but right now the max term on the batteries, you can only have a loan for as long as the warranties, and most of these battery warranties are 10 or 12 years. So I think the max loan amount right now for batteries with Goodleap is 10 years. Brian, correct me if I'm wrong there. Potentially 15 correct, if any manufacturer warranty goes that long. We do have some things in the works though on battery only offerings, products, loans. We'll have more to share soon. We're working on just putting all the pieces together on the back end. And when we have more information to share, we certainly will. But it's, Brian, again, correct me if I'm wrong, it's just the normal 5 or 10 year loan options with the same dealer fees, same rates, all that. Is that right?
Yeah, their loan term should match the warranty available, right? So if it's 10 years, then 10. If it's 15, then 15.
All right, thanks, guys. And the only question we have right now in our Q&A is, do we know what the tolerance ratios are for these projects?
There's no tolerance from the financiers. Again, these are loans. They operate I know that a lot of our sales force now is used to working with TPOs, and the tolerance is there. The only tolerance that exists, as far as I'm aware here, is the Freedom production guarantee tolerance, which is 85% of what was sold. Goodleap doesn't have any tolerance level here on the loan side.
And the Goodleap loan dropping to 20 years, that only applies to the loan. The leases or PPAs, those remain at 25 years, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Appreciate that.
I do have one other piece, Mark, if we're done with questions, just one other kind of off the cuff item I want to throw in here. So that I think is important to note. And I think we'll have some more guidance coming out on this as we get through the end of the year. But as this group knows, the ITC ends at the end of this year. And the current guidance and the current language, as far as I understand it, is that the project must be effectively installed by the end of the year for the homeowner to be able to claim the tax credit. So there's a couple implications here. Again, we haven't made any final calls on how we're going to handle this come the end of the year. We need to shore that up over the next couple of months. But I think it is important here in the context of the Goodleap loan, since they do have that initial 18-month lower payment that would re-amortize to a higher number if they don't repay the tax credit. That is important. You see a lot of these other financiers, specifically NFL and Credit Human, they don't start off with a lower payment that assumes you get the tax credit. In fact, NFL just went live with all of their products that don't re-amortize and that assume you're not going to get the tax credit. And that really is in anticipation of the ITC going away. So I just want to throw that out there that, there is a possibility if a customer signs up now and they don't get installed by the end of the year, we need to figure out how to handle those situations. I think the good news is the final guidance that did get passed and approved did make it based on install and not, system activation, which would have been significantly more challenging to handle. So we will have a good handle on come the end of the year, which we, effectively will know because we can control when the install occurs, who's going to get the ITC and who's not. And for anyone who's not, we'll be able to kind of know who those people are and act accordingly and handle those customers accordingly. But I just want to put that out there so you guys are thinking about it. It's not a foregone conclusion that all of these customers you sign up today will get the ITC. It depends on the install date and further guidance coming on that. And there is likely to be some remediation or cleanup that needs to occur for customers that don't get installed by the end of the year. Hopefully we're in August, so we're talking 0 customers that get sold over at least the next month or two. But just want to float that idea out there, so we're kind of prepped for that conversation when it comes.
And Rob, specific to Goodleap, they did indicate that any customers who are sold under this loan and are not installed by end of year would need to be re-signed, would need to be repapered specifically. So.
Yep, great point.
Exactly what we need, however.
Sonia, we see your question about refinancing. If you wouldn't mind sending that question to producteducation@freedomforever.com, we can find an answer for that for you. I'm not sure on that one yet. So we have a question about the credit score requirement. So for the TPO, the credit score requirement is 650. So that remains. That hasn't changed for the TPO. This 680 score only applies to the loan, correct?
Correct.
All right. Got that one done. So again, Rob, some folks are jumping in asking about the information that you just came out. It's more around install date and not PTO for the current guidance for the ITC.
That is my understanding. There is, I think, still some drama, activity, decision left to go. Not to get too deep into policy here, but as you guys may or may not know, after the big beautiful bill was signed into law on July 4th, the very next day, Trump did issue an executive order basically directing the Treasury to adjust the language of this applies mostly to the TPO side, so sorry, I'm getting my wires crossed here, but on the residential 25D ITC, my understanding is it is based on install, not PTO, and I'm pretty darn confident in that. Originally, there was some language in there that made it based on kind of placed in service was the language, or essentially activation date. But the final language, as I understand it, again, pending further guidance to come from us, we'll come up with some official language and guidance and decisions here in the coming months. But it's based on installation date.